guys, that's a wrap for AEW Dynamite on TNT. As next week, January 5th, 2022. Can't believe since 2022, it'll be 10 years since I graduated high school. It's a scary thought. Next week, AEW Dynamite, or AEW in general, moves to TBS. And of course, it'll be the beginning of another chapter in the great story so far of all elite wrestling. Be elite. Be the elite. Okay. What is going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here live for my live review of AEW Dynamite's New Year's Smash. Took place tonight on December 29th, 2021. That took place at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. What a way to end. Then to end, of course, where AEW is called home for the longest time during the pandemic era, where they basically had all their shows. They had all their shows at Daly's Place during the pandemic era, but of course, just everything else, just to cap off a great, well, we still have Rampage on Friday, but I still don't really watch Rampage, but just a great way to cap off an excellent 2021 for all elite wrestling. We had an excellent main event. We had a return of a legend. We had it was kind of a re-debut of someone else that I completely forgot about. I was mentioning a bunch of women's names in my video on Toni Storm's release. Completely forgot about this woman. I feel so bad. But we have, of course, who's going to be in the finals of the TBS Championship Tournament, which I'm excited about. We had a great promo from Brian Pillman Jr. also. We had quite a bit of good things that happened on this episode of Dynamite. And like I said, it is the last episode of Dynamite on TNT, as next week it moves to TBS. Of course, we've had 2 weeks in a row now with some debuts. Last week it was Kyle O'Reilly. This week it was a certain female wrestler. Could maybe, if you're doing debuts here, someone big is showing up next week. Somebody big. Now, of course, with us having the World Championship match with Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson, with judges being involved, I already said that, because they announced that they're going to have Dr. Britt Baker and Rio battle each other at Battle of the Belts. Not this coming Saturday, but next Saturday, January 8th. Could they maybe have a big debut after the match next week? If it does have a conclusive finish, which I'll mention that later. So we will just have to wait and see. And let's roll into this review, because it's already a little past midnight. I have to get up for work tomorrow, but for the first time in a while, holy smokes, the man is actually doing an AEW review of the exact show on the exact same night it took place. Hopefully that will be the case again going into 2022, for sure. But this probably most likely will be my last stream of 2021, unless if it's not looking good for my New Year's plans, since my girlfriend's sick. So unless she's better, I may be doing something on New Year's Eve, but we'll have to wait and see, because tomorrow I'm going to visit friends after work. So we will have to wait and see. We've got Tyler in the live chat. What's up, Tyler? He says the only good thing about tonight was JR and Chris Jericho returning. The rest was bland. He'll do his best and worst for the year video. He still thinks AEW is full of their egos, and will still be in 2022, he feels. Again, that's your opinion, Tyler. I know you don't like them, but again, I love them. He did all the SmackDown versus Raw games. Very nice. And he gave this show a D. Again, that's his opinion. Again, I appreciate you, Tyler. I mean, I definitely disagree, because I definitely really like the show, but that's your thoughts. It's your thoughts. I'm not going to argue with you. So, yeah, let's just roll into this review and Then I'm gonna get to bed. Well, I gotta brush my teeth and pack my games tomorrow for my friend's place, but we'll see how that goes. Um, of course, the show opens up with the intro video, and also we get Jim Ross getting his entrance on TV as he returns to commentary, having just recently beaten skin cancer. Definitely great to see JR back, and of course, a certain somebody acknowledged both him and the recently deceased Brody Lee, as this past Sunday, December 26th, was the 1 year anniversary of the death of the late great Brody Lee. But the opening match was a 10-man tag match. It's Christian Cage and his friends, the Jurassic Express's Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, and Luchasaurus. They teamed up with the Lucha Bros, the AEW World Tag Champions. Penta El Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix. They took on the team of FTR, Cash Wheeler, and Dax Harwood, and the Hardy Family Office members Isaiah Cassidy, Mark Quinn of Private Party, and Big Money Matt Hardy. A fun little 10-man tag match to show. Of course, with the upcoming feud between, of course, the Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express, this kind of told that story of, those two teams not being able to really coexist together. It came back to bite them, though, as Luchasaurus went to the floor with headbutts, but then Matt put him into the post, and Phoenix dives on Private Party, but then Jungle follows it up one of his own, but then Penta with a rolling soul butt in the ring, but Cage tags him and Penta shoves him, so they start showing a little bit of dissent, but unfortunately it cost them, as FTR and the Hardy Family Office did win by pinfall with the big rig from FTR. They hit that on Christian Cage, of course, leading to a backstage altercation later on, which I believe they said, I think it was next week or Battle of the Belts, one of the two. Let me see if I can find it here really quick here. Yes, they're going to challenge, Jurassic Express is going to challenge for the World Tag titles next week, and of course Penta El Zero Miedo accuses him of not being a good tag partner, which is Christian Cage tells Jungle Boy to let go of the past, and Phoenix accepts the challenge. Not going to deny again, I like the Lucha Bros. I really hope that they give it to Jurassic Express. Like I said, I love the Lucha Bros, but it's time Jurassic Express gets a bone for them and get some gold. I think this is definitely their time for sure against the Lucha Bros. So that's the only title change I am hoping for that happens next week. I believe it's happening, next week. I think there is a TNT title match happening on Friday, which we'll get into that momentarily. But that'll be good. We get another tag match. It is 2.0's Jeff Parker and Matt Lee team with Daniel Garcia, and are taking on the team of Eddie Kingston and Proud and Powerful's Santana and Ortiz. This was a solid match, but more so what happened after the match. We have the winners who were 2.0 and Daniel Garcia went with the schoolboy roll of tights on Santana. Afterwards, they start beating down on Santana, and even used the ring bell as well on him. And I was like, okay, somebody's coming out. I was kind of thinking, since Eddie Kingston was in the match, maybe it'd be Jon Moxley. I thought maybe, I haven't heard rumors of him getting out of rehab yet or not, I'm not sure if he has, but I thought maybe he can make a surprise return here. Nope, instead it was a return of another former AEW World Champion, and it was not Kenny Omega, it was Chris Jericho. It's the first time we've seen Jericho in maybe a little over a month, because he was hospitalized sometime last month. I remember when he was out in the UK, but the last time we had seen him, he got beat down by Garcia and 2.0. He comes out and he saves his friends Santana and Ortiz, but then Jericho and Kingston, who were kind of teasing a little bit of tension between each other before Jericho had got written off TV for a little bit, they seemingly started getting a little bit of a fight with each other, a little bit of tension between them as well. So it looks like we're going to have a Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston feud, which I'm all game for that. That would be a very epic feud between a legend and a basically future legend as well. I definitely would love for that to happen for sure. So maybe that'll be a a feud for Revolution, maybe. And then we get a MJF promo where he says perhaps another wrestling company might treat him properly, but that's a question for the bidding war of 2024. Tease, you really think he's going to go somewhere else? No, MJF I don't think would ever want to touch WWE for sure. But then we have Smart Mark Sterling showing up to remind Wardlow that his terms and conditions say that, I guess he's going to be trying to get involved in a number one contenders ladder match or something like that, like some type of upcoming match for number one contendership for the TNT Championship. He tells him though that his terms and conditions state that any titles that Wardlow wins, they are properly MJF's. Again, continuing to tease that split between MJF, Wardlow, and the rest of the Pinnacle. Which leads to Wardlow then squashing Colin Delaney afterwards, where Shawn Spears has to do another chair shot. So, yeah, Wardlow squashes again. Like I said, eventually soon we're going to be getting Wardlow going on his own and being a babyface, which are build up nice. Then we got this backstage work. First we have the Super Click and Red Dragon. Yes, they're calling them Red Dragon backstage. Adam Cole says they're going to go down as the greatest faction in history. Matt, though, is skeptical. Kyle O'Reilly, though, is asking for a moment to speak with Adam Cole. The Young Bucks say anything he can say to him, he can say to them as well, but he insists, and Adam tells him to leave. Kyle also asks Bobby Fish to go as well, and says things have been messed up between them, and tonight he knows Bobby Fish has his back, but the question is, does Cole have his? Still, again, telling that story as to, they're kind of continuing on this tension from when they were back in NXT, because last time these two were in the ring with each other, which was just a few months ago, they were beating the hell out of each other. So, I like that storytelling, but like I said, I'm still confused with the story as to why did if him and Adam Cole aren't on good terms, why did Adam Cole, bring him in, basically saying he's his present, and why would Kyle O'Reilly accept that they're not on good terms? So that is something that I'm still curious about that we're going to have to see. And then we have Dan Lambert in the Men of the Year. Dan complains again about how much Cody sucks and how he's turned Arn Anderson from a horseman to a whore, which is the perfect segue to talk about Brandy Rhodes, who he knows that Brandy's the first person's name is Brandy, that ain't no stripper, but he also knows that Cody has gone through a lot and tried to make it into pro wrestling. But AEW might be idiots, but even idiots don't like the taste of the shit sandwich they're shoving down their throats. Continue to use that truth about Cody Rhodes and just, getting interesting reactions to it. Then we have Brandy Rhodes. She calls Lambert a bargain basement Paul Heyman, which I'm like, holy smokes. But then Lambert counters as he prefers Jim Cornette. But the sound of her voice makes him wish he was getting his balls stapled to his legs again. Brandy asks him when the last time was he was beaten up by a woman and have to pay for it, because she'll do a solid whooping of the ass tonight for free. Lambert claims that he'll beat her up. He might be a black belt, Brandy says, you might be a black belt, but I'm just a black bitch, and just throws down her heels and is ready to fight. And I'm like, man, which that was a very savage line by Brandy also. Dustin Rhodes, though, came out to make the save until All Ego Ethan Page blasts him, and him and Scorpio Sky leave. Which I was a little confused. I was just like, okay, why isn't Cody here? Like I was confused at that story, like why Cody wasn't there to save his wife. So instead it was Dustin. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But of course, we'll see where that goes as well. As again, they're just not succeeding in trying to get Dan Lambert more heat and get Cody Rhodes cheered for. It's not going to succeed, unfortunately. We also have commentary to hype up a video package for Bryan Danielson and Hangman Adam Page 2, which again takes place next week on the TBS debut of you see here, Hangman, I lost my train of thought here. I don't know why. I lost my train of thought completely. Crap. Something about Danielson and Hangman. Oh yeah, they're having their match next week. Which I'll make a prediction here. Let's say I'm still wondering if they're going to somehow try to get a third match out of them at Battle of the Belts. But I don't think they're going to do it now because of how close it is. But let's say Hangman Adam Page retains the championship here. And Dark Order, of course, come out to celebrate. Remember when I said back at Full Gear how they have to, pull the trigger on this, split and this idea? Which my idea is if Wyndham, Bray Wyatt, aka Wyndham Rotunda, does come to AEW, what if he does by splitting up the Dark Order from Hangman and Adam Page? Not saying everybody would turn on Hangman, but he does that by appearing after the main event, which will probably, I think the main event is going to either be the match between Danielson and Page, or it's going to be the TBS championship match between Ruby Soho and the winner of tonight's match. I still think, what if, Hangman wins, and then he celebrates with the Dark Order, but then part of the Dark Order turn on him, and their new leaders revealed to be Wyndham Rotunda. That's what I still think could happen. They could be saving him for the TBS championship. Again, we've gotten Kyle O'Reilly. We have someone else about to talk about here that happened this week. And of course, we gotta have somebody debuting big for the TBS debut, which that's what I think could possibly happen. Check the live house before we go off the air. Let me see here. Tyler meant matches for 2021. That was the best and worst. Look who we got in the house, guys. He's back. He is no one other than the king of sound style, Robbie One Kenobi. He says D for disaster, D for deadly, D for Dinky told my joke. Hashtag I'm back. Robbie, good to see you again, my friend. Have a safe New Year's Eve, my friend, and relish in the aura of some crispy, tangy, honey mustard barbecue flavor. I did get a couple of Buffalo Wild Wings gift cards. I still also got to use my Nintendo eShop gift card. I was being, a big geek or nerd yesterday, because I did see in the coming soons they had a couple of the old Humongous Entertainment games that they're going to be releasing on Monday, and they were on like a 15% special. So I've actually purchased both of those to play for a heck of it, but I'm definitely saving this card for like a bigger purchase, which I'm still saying have my eyes on. Mario Odyssey, Mario Superstars 3D, or whatever heck that one's called, or Hot Wheels Exchange. Those are definitely the three other games I have my eyes on also. Let me see here. Tyler reviewed all the SmackDown versus Raw games. Very nice. Robbie's on a quick question. Your thoughts on the Roman Reigns, Rey Mysterio Jr. future, the Hell in a Cell match, and the feud that was a little underwhelming or had better potential? Hashtag demand. I love that, Robbie. I feel like it was a little bit of a filler feud. A little bit, yeah. It was a little bit random also to have the Hell in a Cell match not at the pay-per-view also. To have it on SmackDown to draw a rating. I know Rey and Dominic were the SmackDown Tag Champions at the time, but they could have maybe used that feud, because again, at some point at the beginning of the year, I would say Rumble at the early. I'd say in the Rumble, that should be where Dominic turns on Rey. That feud with Roman and Rey, though, they could have really planted the seeds with it, or even pulled the heel turn off there as well, I think. So, I think, it was just there, but you could have definitely turned into something a little bit more interesting with it. Tyler says, if Bryan wins the world title next week, that's a big FU to 2022. I still just don't think Bryan was going to win it. I mean, again, I love Bryan. I mean, again, I understand a lot of people have been giving Bryan crap because he's gotten a lot of title opportunities. And I'll be honest, I do agree, he has. Especially when he feuded with Roman. They gave him, I'll be honest, they did give him a little too many. I will be honest and say that. I mean, I love the guy to death, but, yes, I do agree. But I still feel he should not be winning the world title. Like I keep saying, he is basically AEW's Shawn Michaels. He is just there to put on excellent wrestling matches. He does not need to win a title, in my opinion, of course. Cody is the AEW version of Randy Orton as burying wrestling. We'll see how that goes, of course. I'm still very surprised that Cody Rhodes won the title. I don't get why he wasn't there tonight. Like, why did they basically leave him and his brother and Brandy to, fight off, MJF? Like, I thought that was very weird. But anyways, let's move on now to the next part of the show. We had Thunder Rosa and Jade Cargill for the TBS tournament semifinals. So winner faces Ruby Soho next week. And the match was pretty good. Smart Mark Sterling was at ringside, of course. And the match was going good. Again, Jade Cargill, I still think, still some ways, a little ways to improve, but again, she definitely has so much potential for sure, which is why I'm actually very glad it came down to, her, and spoiler alert, Jade Cargill won, thanks to help with Thunder Rosa getting hit with a turnbuckle, then being attacked by a masked figure with a bottle, and knocks out Thunder Rosa cold. And then Jade Cargill hits the Jaded, which is similar to like a Glam Slam, or whatever heck Beth Phoenix's finisher was called. So Jade Cargill wins, and after the match, Thunder Rosa tries to attack Cargill for ripping her off, but then the masked figure comes in and makes a save and starts beating down on Thunder Rosa also. She then turns around and unmasks, and again, I feel so bad. I completely forgot about this woman. It was Mercedes Martinez, who was released from NXT, I think the same time Bobby Fish was. I think. Let me double check that. Mercedes Martinez release. August 6th. Yeah, she was released on August 6th. I believe that was when Bobby Fish was released also. But yeah, I was definitely very happy to see her. She did appear, I can't remember which Battle Royale it was, in a Casino Battle Royale, I remember, a while ago before she went to NXT. And I remember thinking, why did she choose WWE over AEW, which I thought was a big mistake. And of course, she had some decent matches in WWE this time around, but obviously, when they put her up on the main roster, she was supposed to be in Retribution, and she got out of that quickly, went back to NXT, but didn't do too much with her. But definitely another big name for sure for this women's division. I definitely love that she's there, and the stable with her and Jade Cargill definitely draws a lot of attention. Really makes that main event, it could be the main event, that TBS title match next week between Soho and Cargill, very unpredictable. I am very interested to see which one of those two women win. Again, my pick is still Ruby Soho, but again, I'm not going to be upset at all if Jade Cargill wins, especially now that she's like working with Mercedes Martinez, which is pretty awesome for sure. They beat down Thunder Rosa until Ruby Soho makes a save with a steel pipe. But again, we're going to have that match for the TBS title next week with Cargill and Soho. We get another video package with Britt Baker and Riho. Again, they're going to be having their match at Battle of the Belts next Saturday the 8th, which I still don't know what I'm going to do because I am actually, not next week, the following week, I'm actually going out of town for work reasons to Vegas. So I will not be able to watch that week because, again, I'll be away for work reasons. The 9th to the 14th, I'll be gone. So I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing about Battle of the Belts. I may still try to watch it the night before because I'm not sure what time yet. I'm kept my flight leaves on the 9th, but it still would be an interesting show to check out for sure if I can get the chance to do so. But speaking of great people on the microphone, we got CM Punk coming out. And again, another reason why I love CM Punk. Another reason why, I feel the big difference in him in WWE and in AEW. You can tell he's just so much more happier. Because he first puts over Daly's Place. And how it's a big deal because he was never at Daly's Place. He doesn't know what the setup is. He then asks, he wants to see where Jim Ross is. And he finds a booth and he acknowledges Jim Ross being back, saying it's good to see him back. He's all about giving people their flowers while they're still around. And, he wanted to acknowledge JR, which was well respected from Punk. But he also says that being here makes him think of Brody Lee. Which they had a huge pop for Brody, which was just awesome to see. And like I said, people give CM Punk crap because he has this mindset like it's just good to be here. But again, look at this guy. Again, the emotions he's showing. The fact that he's acknowledging things like this, like some great thing, like he acknowledged John Moxley for going into rehab. He's acknowledging Jim Ross for returning after a battle of skin cancer. He's acknowledging the recent life of Brody Lee. He even mentions how AEW handled the tribute celebration for Brody Lee is what convinced him to come to AEW. Like that's just personal, that's just organic, and that is just. It's stuff that I do appreciate. Punk says if anybody out there says anything to minimize the impact that man has, Brody Lee, of course, he just feels sorry because it means they never met Brody. Punk sat at home and watched a tribute show to his friend from this place, and it made him want to come here. He gets to thinking about somebody who's not worth his time and doesn't want to be here. And that, of course, though, is MJF. MJF is a Twitter troll in the flesh. Someone who talks big games but won't say it to his face. He'll hide behind a keyboard or FTR. And who has the gall to compare himself to Roddy Piper, who laced up his boots when MJF laced up his running shoes, as referencing how MJF just ran from Punk last week in that 6-man tag match with the Pinnacles, MJF, and FTR taking on the awesome trio of Punk, Darby Allin, and Sting, which again was the face paint and everything was just awesome. He says, what has MJF done with him? He's fine with that. Well, MJF says he's done with Punk, which Punk is fine with that. He got to team up with Sting and Darby. They beat him. He wants to move on to bigger and better things as well. Both of them have to be gunning for the AEW World Title. And JR says if you don't want to be a champion, you don't want to be here. And he sure wants to be champion, of course, referencing his philosophy he had with WWE. If you don't want to be a best, then he wanted to be fired. And he wanted to be featured as the best. And he told Vince, if you don't see me that way, just get rid of me. Let me go. I don't want to be here. The favorite line, though, was definitely where he says how MJF is a waste of Khan's money, just like it was a waste of money on Tim Tebow also, which got a huge pop, which that was a great line for sure. He found out the hard way that on this microphone, in this ring, even on commentary, no one can touch him though. And if he wants to climb the ladder and get some W's to challenge for the gold, which MJF is saying that, then he'll see him sooner or later, because it'll be a real shame if somebody intervened with his quest for gold. So, I think they're probably going to build up MJF to be the possibly get a shot at the AEW World Title, because he hasn't had a shot since he feuded with John Moxley summer of 2022 going into 2020 going into all out 2020. But I'm pretty sure Punk will probably ruin those chances, take it away from him, and or they'll just take it away from each other. But I'm pretty sure that's for sure it's how we're going to lead to MJF and CM Punk at Revolution, which will be pretty good. Ricky Starks cuts a backstage promo, and he welcomes JR and thanks him for freeing Taz up to keep honoring Hook's talent, which I still gotta watch Hook's match from Rampage. I keep hearing he was awesome. He also calls out Dante Martin. He says eliminating him from the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royale was a mistake because he's going to keep him from winning anything big. Hobbs asked him if Dante really wants to do another round with him. And we're getting ready for another match. We can think either at Dynamite next week or at Rampage 1 to 2. And then at the recap of Cody Rhodes winning the TNT title, Sammy Guevara makes his entrance to his picture-in-picture gimmick, basically saying he's going to win the TNT title back. Hikaru Shida gets a video package calling Serena Deeb out, accepts her challenge to a rematch. And then we have this, again, I got to continue to put him over. Brian Pillman Jr. is really growing on me. I think at some point in 2022, he's going to be an even bigger star. He says the sound of the bell ringing over and over when Malachi Black tried to end his brother Griff Garrison's career last week will play in his ears forever. And he made the save, his memory went black, and he ended up on the ground next to the man he was trying to protect. He didn't know his father, but he knows you only get one life, and he's not giving Black his. The lights go out, which Malachi Black has a spotlight entrance, takes his mask off, lights go out, he disappears, leaving Pillman Jr. alone in the ring. Next, we're going to be getting a match with Brian Pillman Jr. and Malachi Black, which should be very interesting for sure. We get hyped for some matches for Rampage. Anthony Bowen is hyped up his match against Darby Allin, where he says he'll beat Darby's My Chemical Romance looking ass all over the arena. But then Sting and Darby have a promo where Sting says he treated every match like a main event when he was starting out, and Darby says it doesn't matter where he is on the card, he'll be ready. Main event was Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly teamed up with, of course, Adam Cole, of course, the formerly known as Undisputed Era, taking on Best Friends Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, and Trent. Awesome, fun match. Great back and forth, great counters, great storytelling. There was a time where they kind of did tease a little bit of a miscommunication though, between Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, which again I said earlier, they're still kind of playing on the fact that these two can't 100% trust each other. But they won thanks to Young Bucks doing a super kick party. They hit the Chasing the Dragon on Chuck Taylor, and they get the victory. But after the match, though, the Bucks pull Adam Cole away while Red Dragon celebrate with their victory, as we only go over a minute on the overrun for the show. But that was an awesome main event, awesome match. Again, definitely, good to see those three, together again in the ring. Again, we'll see what happens with Cole and O'Reilly. But like I said, just some great stuff. And I love the show. Gave it a B+. A great way to end the final episode of Dynamite on TNT as we get ready, of course, for TBS next week. Like I said, we're going to have the AEW World Title rematch between Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson. I can still see us maybe getting okay, I promise. Maybe a Wyndham, return maybe or something. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, check the live chat. Robbie says, should Ray versus Roman have been saved for SummerSlam in Vegas, or would it not have the same big fight feel as Roman and Cena did? Roman and Cena, like I said, their promos definitely, were definitely going to outdo Ray and Roman. The match was better than I thought it would be, but I definitely don't think they could have put on as good of a match as Roman and Ray did inside the cell. So mixed feelings about that. I would still lean towards give it the SummerSlam match to Cena instead of Ray was fine with me. Damn shame about Tony Storm being released today. Another prime example of why I've lost all hope of WWE programming. Hashtag always please sign Robbie. Again, WWE, I said earlier, WWE is basically dead. Like I said, it just feels like it's a sinking ship at this point with Vince McMahon just wanting the ship to go down with him. But definitely please sign Robbie, but definitely put Robbie with a company that will appreciate his ideas for sure. Whether she's in WWE, NXT, or AEW, the truth remains, when Ruby wins, we riot. That is very true. Although I still love her Ruby Soho theme, how they let her use that with her being in the punk rock and whatnot, which was definitely awesome for her. But yeah, thank you, Robbie and Tyler, for your stuff in the live chat, but I gotta go get to bed. I gave Dynamite, New Year's Smash this week, a B+. again, unless if my plans for New Year's end up getting completely canceled, which I'm pretty sure at this point they are, but kind of still hope for them. This is in fact probably most likely my last stream of 2021. If it's in fact, I want to say, guys, thank you as always for the support this year. I know, things been crazy, been busy. I know that I've cut back on content and I haven't been as up to date, and I do apologize. Again, I hope to get some other stuff shown, since again WWE is just really not cutting it for me right now. But of course, Dynamite is still killing it as I'm loving it. But I'm still trying other things to do. Again, I've really enjoyed those Seinfeld reviews I've done so far. Definitely, maybe, I don't know about next week, maybe, but if not, then definitely when I get back from Vegas in 2 weeks, I want to try to get back to those Harry Potter Let's Plays. Again, we have 2 more games left, which is Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2. There's just a whole bunch of other stuff I still want to do on this channel, of course, as always. But again, I definitely want to find other ways to talk some fun into wrestling. Despite the fact that, again, like WWE is just very boring right now. And again, I'm not into NXT at all. Raw and SmackDown are bland to me. And like I said earlier in the Tony Storm video, I'm not even that excited about Rumble. But again, I also would like to post a video also that I kind of talked about a little bit in the Tony Storm video about how at this point, with the lack of talent, I think WWE really should consider ending the brand split right now. But I'll talk about that another time, guys. I'm getting ready to go to bed. Again, Ravi, Tyler, thank you both for joining me live. Hope you guys are doing well as always. And again, if I don't get to talk to you guys, I will see you guys next year. Despite the fact, again, that I definitely, slacked on content, I do apologize. Thank you guys as always for a great year, being part of, my channel, my audience to discuss wrestling, and of course other things that that's coming to this channel as well. Maybe some other games I'll try to do in 2022 as well. Again, we'll just have to wait and see what comes to me next. As I keep saying, I really feel like I've been, improving, and like I said, for a couple years, I feel like I was just like stuck in the same spot. But definitely a lot I feel like is happening for me lately, and I really feel like 2022, some things really are going to fall into place for me. I have a good feeling. So, guys, once again, this is me for sure going to bed this time. What are your thoughts again on this week's episode of AEW Dynamite New Year's Smash? Are you excited for what's coming for the TBS debut next week? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAir183. Until then, guys, check it out. I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your 2021. Peace out, everybody. No